Say so bad, but I didn't say it. I was going to say, man, Deacon Dave, you're starting to rub, Father Michael's starting to rub off on you. This is a little long, buddy.
I thought it was wonderful.
And it was a beautiful homily.
Oh, yeah.
See, it's so funny how these things that they kind of make us, they just make us a little uncomfortable. They give us just a little twinge of pain here and there. But yeah, we look back at them and go, that was awesome. I'm so glad I went. I'm so glad that the homily was long. I'm so glad. And yet while it's happening, it's like, oh, I'm suffering. When is Mass going to start? Today. It wasn't when it was going to end, it was when it was going to start! That was so funny!
Make up your mind.
Yeah. Oh, the things that God loves me so much, because the things that run around in this head are so nutty that he just be thinking, this guy's a deacon, what have I done? You know, because I'm thinking, when is Mass going to start, Father? Why are you wearing green? Let's get out with it. I got things to do. You know, it's just our human nature, though. Okay, and we gotta trust it and go with it. You know, that's why I said you gotta push back against our human nature and fight it. You know, and drive through it and be thankful when you're done with it. Wow, that was awesome, but I was there. Yeah.
I just thought that when he said that he went to the Cracker Barrel dressed like this and went in there and said, "Hey, la la la."
Yeah.
Do you even know what St. Patrick, who he was?
Right.
And what
Yeah.
he I'm sure he was a disciple that day. He started talking to
Oh,
them and
absolutely.
saying, who is, because they don't know. They just do it.
Yeah.
This is what we are doing now.
Yeah.
We are in a routine.
Yeah.
You know, we don't
Some people
even
call
think.
St. Patty's Day D-D-Y.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, everything has
Yeah.
to change somehow. Pretty soon something.
Yeah, Father Michael's come to our work before and sang in his
Really?
outfit.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
He got a beautiful voice.
What a
I love
treasure.
it.
What a treasure. Exactly, I do
I
too.
do too.
And yet there's a little voice inside me going, this Mass gonna start.
So did you get all the things done that you had?
Of
to
course
do?
I did.
Did you?
Of
have
course,
a
and
better-
I was happy that all
More
worked out.
efficient.
But you know, it's like we have these moments where we're just, you know,
God's time.
we want it on our schedule, and you're messing with my schedule.
That's true.
You know, what's going on here? You took 10 minutes too long. Yeah, yeah, so I just, God's just so patient with me. Other things in here that kind of,
I love the chapter on not judging.
not judging, I knew
Yeah.
somebody had to bring, I was judging, someone's gonna bring that up.
That one.
Do not judge. Oh, man,
That's a toughie.
this is so miserable. Isn't it?
Well, no, are really, if really are aware of it, it's amazing how much you judge.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't call it judging, I call it contemplating.
Rationalize, whatever I call that.
Well,
I love it though, yeah.
I've also, those who judge others will be judged by God. Those who give mercy, you know, divine,
Right.
if you know divine mercy, those who give mercy,
You
or
have
are
it.
merciful to others,
You
God
have a
will be
choice.
merciful to you.
Yep,
So,
yep.
yes.
There's that nasty line in there, right at the beginning. For the judgment you make, you will be judged, and the measure you give will be the measure you get. And right after that, they should have a little parenthetical for most of us that would say, shit. And that's what the camera won't be able to read my lips. But seriously, I mean, how many of us read that and go, oh, I'm in trouble. I am in deep doo-doo. Because I know I judge, right? And I'm gonna get judged back with the way I judge. Yeah, so I gotta stop this nonsense. It's a great line on 77. I just think it's great. The bottom paragraph there. It is simply not our place to judge. To judge is a divine prerogative. And it's an exclusive right or privilege, and it's God's exclusive right. Just kind of stop right there, because as soon as we enter into God's realm, we make ourselves God.
And the question is, are we qualified?
No, I know that one.
What I said.
Yeah.
That's for
But right away, when we, and he said at the end that we pretend we are God, and whenever we do that, look out, you know? So I have really, this is one that I have to tell you, I mean, he's right at the beginning, he says, you know, you try, I see myself doing it, but what, if I can start to see, and this is where I think the answer is, if you can start to see that God is within each of us, we're made in God's image and likeness, so when I judge God's image and likeness, who am I ultimately judging? I'm not judging the person that I'm looking at, I'm judging God. Who in the heck wants to be accused of that? Certainly not me. So when I act as though that person is not human, right? And I judge, I'm setting myself up as superior somehow. And I have to be honest and say, of course I'm not superior, I'm just a creature just as that person is. And so getting to that mindset of that God is within each person, and therefore I shouldn't be judging anybody. Now, do we do it? Yes. But do we know it's a sin when we do it? No, and that's our problem. If we were aware if it was a sin, right away we would say, uh-oh, I shouldn't be doing this. Now, you might do it and know you shouldn't be doing it. That's better than doing it and not even being aware you shouldn't be doing it. Because at least if you're aware you shouldn't be doing it, your tendency will be to say, this is something I need to confess, something I need to work on, something I need to pray for God's grace to stop, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you can make progress at less and less judging, right? But if you don't have any knowledge of the sin, because you just think that's the way you should, the way you are, the way it is, and you just accept it, once again, the devil's got you right where he wants you, because now you're telling him it's not even a sin that's worth even working on. It's just that's the way I am. I can't help it. I'm a gossiper. I just can't help it. I have to talk about other people. You know, when we start to make excuses for ourselves, this is the way I am, and rationalize why I don't do it. So it's a real challenge to say, you know, I got to see God and other people and not judge God, because that's ultimately who you're judging. Stop. Don't think you're judging the creature. You're judging God, and that makes me stop. I go, wait a minute, time out. I certainly don't want to do that. I'm judging His creation. Thereby judging Him. And if you didn't want me to judge these people, why don't you make them smarter? Who am I judging? God. You know, who's Adam judging? That woman you put here with me. He's judging God. He's not judging Eve. He's judging God. Right from the beginning, right? And how many times we do that and not realize that that's who we're really judging is we're judging God. And hopefully that should make us stop right there. And say, I should not be judging anybody. Because I'm ultimately judging God. That's what gets me to stop. And he says it well in that point to ponder. Whenever you're tempted to judge someone, turn your attention to seeing that person as a child of God. And again, if it's a child of God, then who am I to judge a child of God? Because I'm a child of God. And ultimately, why would I judge God's creation and judge God? Yeah. So I hope that helps you. I mean, it's not that we are going to suddenly stop, because we're taught to discern, we're taught to compare, contrast, right? We have to do that to live our human life. But we're not taught to judge another person. Right? One of my favorite little stories about this was when Phil Jackson was the coach of the Bulls. He used to have to criticize his players for doing things. And one day he was criticizing one of the guards, who was one of the top 50 players, Scottie Pippen, and he said, Scottie, you're bouncing the ball too high in the dribble. And this guy says, who are you to criticize me? I've been bouncing. I said, I'm not criticizing you. I'm criticizing that you're bouncing the ball too high. Mm-hmm. See, and that's the way we hear things, right? He wasn't criticizing the person, he was criticizing the action. Okay? So you got to be careful there. That when we say things, we say it in a way that doesn't say, you're dribbling the ball too high. Instead say, well, the ball is being dribbled too high. The ball is the problem. Well, sometimes just on the language we can change it. So we're not focusing on the person, we're focusing on the action, right? So you can say things in a much more positive way by not pointing the finger and saying, you, know, instead of the ball's being dribbled too high. Dribble the ball over, right? Yeah, without them criticizing, you're the problem.
It's not just when we openly criticize and
Right.
judge, it's the judging we do when we just see a situation and we think about
Yeah,
it. and we
judging our
judge
hearts,
that.
yeah. Yeah, we don't have to even
And
say
that's,
anything.
that's,
Yeah.
we think that, well, there's nothing wrong with that, we're not hurting
Yeah.
anybody,
Yeah.
but that's what, we gotta stop ourselves from that kind of judging.
I mean, like, I sit in church and I kind of watch things and I have these little moments and I just think, that's kind of funny that I thought that was a judgment. And I think, yep, there I go again. And then God just smiles at me and goes, yep, there you go again. And I go, yep, I'm judging again, aren't I? He goes, yep, you sure are. And I go, okay. And I smile at myself and he smiles back and I think, what an idiot I am. You know? But that's the process of being aware. You just have these little moments and you smile at God because you're like, I did it, didn't I? Uh-huh. Did it.
When does judging stop and simple evaluation?
Yeah.
I mean, if
When we take the person away from it.
if I walk into a situation where I see, three threatening looking guys on the other side of the street, I'm making a judgment that they're liable to hurt me. Is that a judgment or an evaluation if I turn around and walk the other way?
That's an
I would
evaluation.
call it evaluating. I would probably call it prudence.
You're not judging.
And you don't even have to judge them as you may just judge them and say, well, I think that'd be better for me. Without judging them, I think it would be better for me.
Self-preservation gets in there.
Yeah.
too, you know. What about,
They may be the nicest persons in the world, and I'm not judging them.
are you avoiding suffering that way?
Absolutely. I am.
Boy, you're a good one. What about the judgment if you're on a jury?
Judgment and.
Yeah,
If you're on a jury?
Yeah.
Which-
Yeah. And we're called, you know, civil.
how you get this off.
We're called to be, we're called like Christ, to be within a system.
I
Yeah.
always do them.
But again, it's, did they break the law? Yes, you know, yes or no?
Or if you see someone who's done a heinous crime that's reported on the TV or
Right.
whatever, how can you can judge it?
Yeah. And you can judge the act and say that was just like the basketball's dribbled too high, that's a sinful act. But then say, but I really, you know, here's what we don't realize is we don't know the whole picture, do we? We see what this glimpse is, you know? And we judge this glimpse without seeing the whole thing. So we don't know exactly what's going on. And we don't know the whole story, and we don't know the backgrounds of the individuals, and we don't know the circumstances and all sorts of things, right?
Marilyn has an answer for that. She'd say, why don't you, I suggest that you dribble the ball smaller. Go.
I say I only have a suggestion.
You only have a suggestion.
I mean, you hate to sin in all this.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah,
I suggest you go this way, not that way.
That's a great little phrase, you know, hate the sin but love the sinner. The hardest thing for us though is to really divorce and separate the two. If we can do it, wonderful. You know, I doubt that the guy that was dribbling the basketball too high, if the coach explained it well, probably thought to himself, he thinks so poorly of me. He was dribbling basketball, right? Maybe he got over that pretty quick. You know, I didn't load the dishwasher just right. It's okay. Right? I didn't quite put something away I was supposed to. And the little things in life, right? Those are not the big judgments we're talking about. You know? But when we have those moments, well, in certain households, it sounds like it's a big deal. Bad examples for some households.
Reality just set in.
Yeah. Yeah, but think about the bigger judgments, not the little ones. Think about the bigger ones. You know?
They're connected.
Yeah. And can you really separate the two? And that's a challenge for us, because when we see someone commit a sin, can we really objectively say, and I can take the person completely out of it? And I'll challenge it. Sometimes it's really hard. to
And
not
then say to
associate the
yourself,
person.
only God can do that.
Yeah, so then what you have to do then is say, I can't do it. I can't separate the sin and the sinner. And that's why you just have to say, so I can't judge the sin either. I just can't judge it at all. And go back to Matthew Kelly's words there. To judge is a divine prerogative. It's God's exclusive right. So when people like throw that line at me, and they do it occasionally, oh, separate the sin from the sinner, I go, okay. Simple example. Can you do it there? Yeah. Harder example. Someone cheats on his spouse. Whoa. Yep. Forgive the sin, not the sinner. Oh, okay. Let's try that one on. Yeah, okay, I forgive the person for being adulterous, but then can you forgive the person? And not judge the person? Can you separate them? Well, that's a hard one. Yeah, it sure is. And that's why we gotta get back here and say, that's what God's prerogative is, not ours. So it's a real challenge for us, yeah. To try as best we can to, as he says, empty your heart of judgment. Right? Sometimes it's first lines, if you just heard the first lines every time, they're just beautiful, very, very profound first lines. Yeah.
Get your attention right away.
Yeah, yeah, he does. Yeah. Let's do one more real fast, we start a little bit. Anybody else have one that?
There was one in there about, maybe it might be the relationships, but it was about how women and children and poor
Yeah, that's number 13. Yeah.
They were a lower class.
Yep.
And they were made to,
Yep.
like, serve the government.
Uh-huh.
But
Yep.
children of kings were given a higher position, and
Yeah.
he was saying all children are,
Yeah.
equal and.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought it up, because as you go down, I won't go into the details on 64, but read that little practice of exposure to see how bad things were. And on 64, when I talk about the practice of exposure, and I read this just horrific, I was just horrified.
Yes.
Well, about 6 lines in, during those times, the head of a household had the legal right to decide the life or death of a child. And I read that with horror, and then I thought, oh, we do the same thing today. We just call
Sure.
it pro-choice.
Yeah.
That's sad. On the right-hand side on 65, he talks about what he does for his kids. Now, it must be hard being Matthew Kelly's kids, I imagine. Maybe a blessing, but also maybe challenging, right? And he has this in his poster in his daughter's room. I am the daughter of a great king. He's my father and my God. The world may praise or criticize me, it matters not. He is with me, always at my side, guiding and protecting me. I do not fear because I am his. Now, as I read that, I went right back to the little prayer card you have in the daily prayer, which is a total prayer by Thomas Merton. And look at that ending of that prayer. And talked about this one before, so I won't go into the detail. But look at how it ends. Matthew Kelly's words, "For you are ever with me." Right? "I will not fear. I do not fear. You'll never leave me to face my perils alone." Right? You put me on the right road, even though I know nothing about the guidance, right? So it's all there, right in this little section. Put in nice simple words for his kid. That's a beautiful prayer to say. And so I encourage you to remember, who we are and what God does for us, and that we shouldn't fear because He's always with us. The last thing I'll close with is I love the Jesus air. I want to fly on Jesus air. It's on page 66. And you go to the bottom paragraph. No, sorry, first paragraph. Now imagine if Jesus owned an airline, and they go down to the bottom of that first paragraph. At Jesus Air, our motto is, the first shall be last, and the last shall be first. So those of you that are in zone 1, you have absolutely no status. You get to come on first. You're the lowest of the low. Zone 2, you get to do this. And then finally, when we get to those overprivileged, constantly pampered diamond members, you get middle seats and absolutely no overhead space for your carry-on. Screw you! Right? You want to be first, you're going to be last. Boom. That's Jesus talking right there, right? Not very kind, doesn't sound like those diamond, overprivileged, constantly pampered diamond members. Yeah, Jesus, our motto is the first shall be last and the last will be first. Thank you for flying Jesus Air. I loved it. I thought that was so funny.
How many part of that
Yeah.
was seeing myself as one of those that was trying to go and get to the privileged seats? Wow, that was,
How many of you have been in that situation, that exact situation, where maybe you were on standby or something, and you got one of the last seats on the plane, and you walk in, and all you got is middle seats, and there's always somebody too large in the seats next to you, and you have to squeeze in, and there's no overhead, and you got a big bag, and you're like, oh, now you gotta figure out a way to get it in there. And you're apologizing to that guy and the bag, and has everybody been there?
No.
Probably, right?
that was their
Yeah.
one time.
Yeah.
And in the very back seat, by the time they got all the food given out, all they had was one plate of
Yeah.
bean sprouts.
There you go. Yeah. Would you like a complimentary soda with that, sir? Gee, thanks. Yeah. Yeah. But think about that for just a second, how Jesus looks at that.
I haven't heard that one.
How Jesus looks at that, He doesn't particularly care for those people that are overprivileged and constantly pampered, right? I mean, think about that for a second. He's saying, if you're first, I'm gonna put you last. I'm gonna put you in your place, right? And then he has a beautiful story at the end about Lazarus and the rich man. And Matthew Kelly, right at the beginning, says, at the story on bottom of 66, let's take a look at this story that haunts me. And then at the top of 67, this one scares me. Matthew Kelly doesn't write like that very often, where he's haunted and scared. All right, he's a pretty joyful guy. But this one scares him because he sees where his life is and how he lives it. And it scares him because he's a lot like that rich man. There's a lot of people in the world that are more like Lazarus, right? And then he says that in that paragraph, this one scares me. Like the rich man, I get to enjoy many of the good things life has to offer. And then this indicting sentence, The poor may not be sitting on my doorstep, but they are not far from it. This story makes my soul tremble. Yeah, it really challenges us to be generous and to
David,
pay attention to those, yes.
that's what I noticed yesterday. For the first time, I went under the bridge there, but David, no, what's his name, Scott, right? The one from St. Joseph's, I think he is. Under
Oh,
the-
yeah, yeah, I know,
Yeah,
yeah, I think in Scott meant yes.
And I said, man, did I judge them wrong?
Mhm.
I was telling him when I came
Yeah.
over. I said, oh, they don't wanna work, they have work, but he explained to us all, he said, they have all kinds of problems, ADD, ADHD, and LC, and something, and
These are
some,
just simple health problems.
yeah, and some gave up.
Yeah. Yeah. And then again, at the end there, he says, it's easy to say I love God, it's easy to say I'm a Christian, but Jesus challenges us to prove it. Our love of neighbor is the proof that we love God. You know, and St. James is, well, I think said it, but sometimes I'm wrong. When it said, you know, how can you profess to love a God you can't see when you don't love the one you can see? Right? Okay, so challenging ones, spend some time on that sucker. You know, go, I can't ignore that, it's right in front of me. Jesus there, where do I wanna be on the plane? You know, and I don't wanna be last. I don't wanna be in the middle seat for all eternity, with my luggage scrunched up against my legs. Yeah, and I don't eat bean sprouts.
Don't pull like
Okay, she gave me the high sign. Okay, well, thank you again. Let's close with a glory be to the Father, and then I'll offer you a blessing. Okay, so next week, we'll do 20 to 26, and try to, again, the takeaway from this week, just try to jot it down briefly, you don't have to do a lot. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit.
As it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen.
The Lord be with you.
And with his spirit.
May Almighty God bless you, the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
You may go in peace. And thank